So I panicked. What did I do? I killed that particular user. But killing that user is the owner of everything. So I literally killed about 13 banks with one command.
Have you hacked a bank before?
Yes. Enough times, both logically and physically.
Were you caught?
No.
Did you steal money?
I don't know why my instincts are telling me
Something
we have messed up somewhere.
Yeah.
Can we go back and check? We went back upstairs. This 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? Anybody who was doing banking for StanChat was getting a message. Thank you for banking with Barclays. Over 300,000 Kenyan shillings was lost in that 10 minutes.
Side note, this guy used to hack the Daystar school system. Were you changing grades or what were you doing?
I was adding students.
Oh.
So that the students will help moderate the grades. Anybody with a mobile application, I know is hackable. Anybody with a mobile application has a wallet, there's a very high chance I'll be able to hack.
So we're talking about bank apps.
Bank apps, fintechs. Okay. Anyone who has a username and password login, there's an OTP part of the program. I know there's a vulnerability somewhere. So I started something called Africa Hackon. In Africa Hackon, I've been running that for about 10 years now, sometimes out of my pocket. Other well-wishers have come in to sponsor. And Africa Hackon is basically teaching you very young people how to become cybersecurity engineers like me, even better than me.
You're a man. You are a man. Stand up and be a man.
So Bright, I want you to introduce this episode for us. And there's something we do on this podcast just to hype the show as we move forward.
All right.
So I want you to say, what's up, guys? All right?
Okay.
Yeah, with a lot of air in your mouth.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
What's up, guys?
Yeah. You are the best so far. You are the best so far with all the guys we've had.
Yeah.
So what's up, guys? Welcome to the Truest Measure podcast. This is where we celebrate men and the brilliant things that they do. My guest today needs no introduction. You know, most of you know Bright, either personally or you've seen him on our socials and on different media platforms, you know, doing some wonderful stuff about cybersecurity and things like that. Now, a brief history. Bright and I actually schooled in the same uni. I'm privileged. I know big people, guys. You can take me seriously also. So just a bit of history of what I remember you to be back in campus. Bright was one of those guys who, you know, those guys who are so annoyingly good at everything. You know, the guy is doing karate, he's doing martial arts.
Kung fu.
He's kung fu.
Yes.
Kung fu. He's coding, he's dancing. The chicks like him, you know, he knows all the latest movies, you know. I'm like, dude, leave some talents for us, man.
That was the business model.
That was the business.
I needed money, quick money.
Yeah, so he was really resourceful back in campus. So an apple doesn't fall far from the tree. I know that's not the exact meaning of that proverb, but it's very hard for someone to be very different from what they used to be back in campus. Like I see what Bright is doing today and I'm like, yeah, there were signs in Campo, you know? Yeah. So that's just my brief introduction, but I don't want to take the privilege away from you.
Yeah.
So I want you to tell us, who is the man, Bright, Dr. Dr. Bright Gameli. Who is this man?
I also never knew I would become a doctor. When you and I were in campus, there was no sign of me being a doctor. I knew I was just trying to finish school and get a job and make some money. So who am I really? Man, you know, from a perspective of what I used to be that you knew me as and now, things have changed. And I think you've seen a lot of things that have changed in your life as my life as well. So now I'm a family man.
Yes.
I think that's the biggest difference between when we used to be in campus and now. I'm a family man of 2 beautiful girls.
Wow.
I'm married to a very beautiful and intelligent wife. Raising a family, running businesses, both in cybersecurity, in education, in mentorship, in entrepreneurship. Those are all streams of business that I'm running. I'm also a lecturer.
Wow.
And I'm also a public speaker. Back in the day, I never used to be somebody who speaks out a lot, but now, as I speak now, I've done 312 presentations.
312.
When it comes to cybersecurity and technology.
Over a span of like how many years?
I would say since 2012.
Okay.
Yeah.
Those are a lot.
It's a lot.
Because if you put them in 1 year, that's like one presentation a day.
Well, technically,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah.
So, how did you become a doctor at such an early age? I think, because I think when you hear someone has a PhD, you know, that's the earliest we get is someone who is approaching 40s, you know?
Actually, my PhD was a mistake.
Okay.
So I started working at Cellulant after I left Daystar. Then after working for 2 years, I went to South Korea.
Yeah.
Got a scholarship by a miracle.
Yeah.
I would say by a miracle because it was not even expected to be there.
Okay.
My dad went there for a conference, some church conference, 4,000 people.
Wow.
I kept bumping into this one guy
Yeah.
every single time. So my dad is like, I don't think this is a coincidence.
Yeah.
I think God wants us to meet and
Yeah.
talk about something. Yeah. So they met, they chit chat, and then the person is like, I can give your son a scholarship as you've been asking for.
Wow.
That's how Professor Young
Yeah.
introduced my dad to my professor called Professor Park.
Yeah.
But Park sent me the documents that I needed to fill and all of those kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Filled it, and I got a scholarship, full scholarship.
Wow.
And later that became part of me.
This is in Korea?
In South Korea.
South Korea.
So
okay.
2012, August, I went to South Korea for the masters. And the masters required to do 26 credits.
Yeah.
I ended up doing 42.
Okay.
So I overdid my credits because
Yeah.
I was interested in anything and everything to
Yeah.
learn when it comes to technology.
Yeah.
Because it was an interdisciplinary course.
Okay.
So I finished. I was like, hey, cheers, guys, I'm done. I sold everything in the room that I was staying in.
Yeah.
I came back to Kenya. My dad is like, where? Rudy.
Did you have any Kenyans there with you? In the
Kenyans were actually, if you look at, how do you call it, the largest amount of African students in South Korea are Kenyans.
Oh.
Yes. Because schooling is free,
Yeah.
technically.
Ah, okay.
So schooling is free.
How easy is it to get there?
It's actually quite easy.
Okay.
So Korean government scholarship program is there, which they actually pay you to study.
Okay.
$800 every month to study. And you can go through the Korean government scholarship program,
Okay.
or you can go directly to the school and write to a professor and say, I want a scholarship.
Okay.
There, they give you either free education, and you probably pay for accommodation,
Okay.
or sometimes they even give a stipend. So it depends. So everything is depending on how it is. So I finished the master's. I applied for the PhD, got another scholarship, and I went back. I went back in there to do the PhD. Instead of 36 credits, they reduced mine to 30.
Wow.
And those 30, you're only supposed to do a maximum of 6 credits a semester, or 3.
Yeah.
And 3 credits is one class.
Yeah.
The reason why they do that is because you have to write a paper
Yeah.
almost every month
Yeah.
for each of these classes,
Yeah.
which is not easy.
Yeah.
I took 10, 10, 10. So 1.5 years,
You
I
were
was done. And I started writing my paper. I knew what I wanted to write about from the word go. So I started writing that paper way before I even started getting into the paper writing phase of the last semester. And it was tough. Imagine to finish masters in South Korea. You have to repeat 3 exams you've done before in one sitting. PhD
Even
is
if you
5.
perform.
You've passed. You haven't failed. PhD is 5. So I had to repeat 5 exams. I had already passed.
That's
And mind you, I was a
that's
straight A student.
rigorous. Yeah.
I only got a B plus once.
Yeah.
Everything was, and then Korean A is 95, A plus is 95 to 90 to 100. So I was A plus A,
Yeah.
thereabout. Because the Korean pressure just hits you hard. So it has been a tough time. So I finished I finished PhD on my birthday, 28th, 22nd July.
Yeah.
That was my 28th birthday.
Okay.
So that's when I finished
Wow.
my PhD.
That
So it was kind of luck, but also
Yeah,
it
yeah,
was a significant milestone in my life.
Yeah. An effort as well.
Yeah.
Because I mean, the number of hours, I don't think many people
It
would,
was
yeah.
because that was there. I was doing odd jobs, trying to be a bartender.
So the stories are
somewhere.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to live,
Yeah.
and Korea is more expensive than this place. So
Yeah.
working in shops, working with people, trying to organize parties for people, like a party organizer is a thing.
Oh.
Yeah.
And you get paid for it.
Working in a factory.
Yeah.
It was tough,
the whole-
but
the whole-
look, I had to
yeah.
survive. Then I started working online,
Yeah.
working for some agencies here and there, cybersecurity, trying to get information here and there, writing code.
Yeah.
And then I did some work with Ushahidi. Ushahidi project was one of the biggest I did.
Okay.
So Ushahidi in Kenya, they had so many startups
Yeah.
across Africa, but 20 grassroots projects. for protection of human rights and everything. So I was helping them to set up the cybersecurity aspect of things. So that was a major work that I did for a while, and that was paying well.
Yeah. So, considering that you are very multi-talented,
Yeah.
You know, you have this thing with martial arts going on, dancing and all these other things, and many other things that we've not mentioned. At what point did you decide I'm going into tech? Like tech is going to be that thing that I'll pour my entire self into it.
You know, when I was young, I used to play every drum at church.
Okay.
Every single local drum. Local, not the drum set.
Yeah.
The local tom-tom drum, like this type.
Ah,
the ones you can see back here.
Yeah.
I learned how to play every single one of them since I was very, very young.
Yeah.
So I thought I'll be in the arts industry.
Yeah.
But again, I got introduced to computers when I was 6 years old.
Okay.
6 years old.
And those days, I'm imagining it was, those analog desktops.
Yeah, it was Windows 3.11,
Wow.
Windows 5, Windows 95,
Yeah.
Windows 2, all of those.
Yeah.
So that tech part of things got me locked in.
Yeah.
And I really, really, really just got into love with the tech. So I started playing around with the tool.
Okay.
And I almost went to Canada to practice martial arts, but that was going to take away my university.
Okay.
So I had to make a decision: education or the martial. Because I was really good in high school.
Yeah.
But I chose the education bit of things, and that has been really beneficial to my entire growth.
Okay.
So tech has always been my passion
From the beginning.
Yeah. I don't think I would have done anything else.
Yeah.
If I was not a techie,
Yeah.
I think I'll be in the arts.
Okay.
I'll be in the arts space.
Yeah, because I see you a lot as a performer.
Yeah.
I'm just seeing you on a stage somewhere and
I know. Those
you're
days,
performing,
break
you know?
dance, I still, funny enough, when I was in South Korea, I was break dancing on the streets.
Wow.
I used to street battle. I wish I could get those videos, but they are somewhere.
Yeah.
But I used to street battle.
Yeah.
I used to even perform in clubs.
Wow.
Because the easiest way again to make money.
Yeah.
I'll be dance opening for like a show.
Yeah.
Before things happen. So it was quite fun. I was having fun.
Yeah. Something tells me it might sneak out again. I don't know.
Well, someday.
But we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Okay.
So when you're immersed in the tech stuff you're doing, cybersecurity and all these other things, what does that do to you as a man? How does it resonate with your masculinity when you're doing these things?
Tech. People take tech to make money. I take tech to relax. To me, I think getting the tech space is to make sure that I can be very relaxed with what I'm doing. I go with the flow. I don't struggle too much to even just be okay with it. So anything new, I love new challenges.
Yeah.
For example, last year I joined a company called Mara, and Mara was completely about blockchain.
Okay.
I'm not a blockchain expert, but I'm like, I have to learn how blockchain works. So it's a whole new learning experience. And me not sleeping, I know my sleeping patterns are quite difficult.
Yeah.
So I have to try to learn new things at different times. And being a family man as well, the pictures the family was there. But man, it makes me feel alive. It makes me feel in the cybersecurity space, you get some sort of a little bit of a power.
Okay.
Because some things that I see, people can't see. Then I'm like, wait.
Yeah.
How do I have access to all of these things that people don't have access to?
Yeah.
And it kind of makes me feel different.
Yeah.
As much as there are so many other people in the space who are in the cybersecurity space, in the technology space, I think in my domain, it makes me feel different.
Okay.
And I just love the comfort that it gives me, that I can maneuver around a lot of technology realms and I'll be comfortable.
So, throughout your experience,
and
I'm glad you've mentioned how you feel at rest. It's your resting place, it's your comfort place. Throughout your journey, what are some of the memorable mistakes you've made?
Oh God!
Specifically in cybersecurity,
Let me tell you one blunder that I made. So there's a time when I was working at Cellulant. Cellulant at the time, we were serving banks. So the USSD messages you get. So you say star, I want to borrow money from here to M-Pesa or check my balance. And they tell you, thank you for banking with Stanchart or Stanbic or Barclays at the time. So I went to do an upgrade at our data center.
Yeah.
I was so tired, and the room was so cold.
Yeah.
I made a blunder of changing some files. But my friend and my colleague and I, we left. We came back to we're leaving.
Yeah.
And we're like, hey, I don't know why my instincts are telling me
Something's
we
off.
have messed up somewhere.
Yeah.
Can we go back and check? We went back upstairs.
Yeah.
This is 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? Anybody who was doing banking with StandChart was getting a message, thank you for banking with Barclays.
What?
And the other way around. Do you know? And then, so that means the money is being picked from different floats. Over 300,000 Kenya shillings was lost in that 10 minutes. How do I explain that? So I knew I was going to be fired.
Yeah.
I knew I was going to be fired. Another one, which was very interesting, was so office was very close to church.
Yeah.
Too close.
Yeah.
So I was at church, and my boss usually tells me something. If you see a particular kind of a user logged in into the servers, if you random, because we do random checks, and at that time we didn't have too many monitoring tools and everything, and I was creating my own, be paranoid. So now I took the paranoia word a little bit too seriously. So instead of me listening to the pastor in church,
Yeah, you are thinking about...
I was thinking about this thing my boss told me the other day.
Yeah.
So I took my phone and I logged in into the servers, and I saw a user, a super admin user logged in. So I panicked. What did I do? I killed that particular user. But killing that user is the owner of everything. So I literally killed about 13 banks with one command. So I ran out, started running to the office because it wasn't too far. I had to run to the office. Support guys were there. I'm like, guys, help me restart these servers, because I literally have killed 13 banks.
What were the repercussions of that?
Well, management disciplinary, because now you have to answer questions as to why you killed a particular user. I didn't know it was my boss who logged in to do some backups, because Sundays
the same boss who was telling you about,
So my boss, if you knew you're going to log in,
Yeah.
you should have told me. But anyway, it was a lesson for me. I've made a lot other blunders in terms of how I relate to some clients. Maybe I did not fulfill on time. And it taught me how to do a lot of how to relate to people, how to relate to corporates, how to relate in terms of delivery. I've disappointed a few people as well in the corporate space. But it's all a learning. I don't think it's a failure. There are things that I can say, it taught me to do, it showed me how to do things better and different.
So it's still on the same line of thought. What are the things you are really proud of? You know, those are the mistakes you made. But what are the things that like, I did this, In
cybersecurity, so I am really proud of something I've always wanted to do. How can I replicate Bright many times? I've been really thinking about it. I'm like, I need to find a way of sharing my knowledge, because it took me a long time for me to be able to get some of the knowledge at the beginning of my cybersecurity journey. Not everybody was willing to share. So I really wanted to share a lot. And mind you, in my cybersecurity journey, I got arrested before by an international police.
What had you done?
I was part of a group online trying to hack, to join a part of a conversation. I didn't know the conversation was hacking Google. So everybody who was in that small chat room was being a target now for international police. And that was a very big blunder, because I was questioned a number of times, and that became a very big blunder.
Was this in Kenya?
When I was in campus with you.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Just before we actually graduated. It was February 10th, around 2010.
By the way, side note, this guy used to hack the Daystar school system, the portal. Were you changing grades, or what were you doing?
I was adding students. So that the students will help moderate the grades. So it was not a bad thing. It's because some teachers were favoring other students. So I needed to balance. That's why.
Did you ever get tempted to change grades?
No.
Okay.
I think it would have eaten me up, because that means I did not legally obtain that grade.
Okay.
To moderate the grades, fine. But not to change my grades.
Okay.
The temptation was never there, actually.
I think that will boil to our next question. But I think you hadn't finished talking about replicating
So, so basically, I wanted to just replicate myself. So I started something called Africa Hack-On. And Africa Hack-On, I've been running that for about 10 years now. Sometimes out of my pocket, other well-wishers have come in to sponsor. And Africa Hack-On is basically teaching very young people how to become cybersecurity engineers like me, even better than me. I'm happy that has changed the industry, and many people right now have become really good cybersecurity engineers. They got jobs at top places. Others have flown out of the country. Others have also gotten that ripple effect to be able to share with other people. I'm really, really proud of that. And one of my prodigies is, the guy was 11 years old when I started teaching him cybersecurity. Right now, he is so good, you cannot actually fight him. He actually works for me right now. So I give him jobs to be done, and he does them so fast. And I'm like, this guy is even better than me in some areas. And I love that about the kind of creating a ripple effect in the industry, which has completely changed. That has made me very comfortable. That has made me a better person than I am right now. And I love the fact that people see cybersecurity differently because of the way I talk about it, the way I speak about it, the way I evangelize it in the entire space. So yeah, that's something which I'll say, yes,
you are really proud of.
I'm really proud of.
I think you've done a really good job to humanize it, if I may use that word.
Okay.
Because my perception of cybersecurity, I did MIS. All right. That's Management Information Systems. Some schools call it BBIT.
Yes.
And my headache in that entire degree was coding. I did not enjoy that thing at all. So I think you making it look like it's such a fun thing and it's something that, you can actually enjoy doing it. I don't think, I don't want to blame my lecturers, but it wasn't really fun the way it was presented to me.
Yes, that's true.
And me being a creative, you have to present things in a certain way for me to feel like I really want to get into this thing.
I mean, coding is not a thing. I mean, well, thanks to AI these days, in the future, we're not going to be learning code. We're going to learn how to let code do work for us. So it's prompt engineering, as we're talking about it, saying, hey, you have designed this on paper. Code a website for me. That's how.
This is where machine learning comes in.
Yes.
Okay.
Machine learning and AI tools are there. So you literally right now, you can draw on paper boxes and say login, username, password, whatever it is, and it'll actually code that for you.
Oh.
Yeah. It's already happening.
Okay.
And people, I think, so schooling and thought processes in universities or high schools are going to change.
Okay.
Lecturers need to learn something new. I always complain that some lecturers don't learn anything new. They've not learned anything for the past 5 years. I'm a lecturer as well. And if you don't read something different to give your students, you're failing them. So it's going to change because I'm not a good programmer myself. I can read code. I can understand code. I can manipulate code. But I'm not the best coder. So I find this whole, I know what you mean when you say it's quite difficult for you to be able to attain that.
Is it true, because you've just talked about machine learning, will the robots actually be able to take over the world?
They can't.
They can't.
They can't.
So those are just movies.
Yeah, they will take over a lot of, they'll help automate jobs. That's why our mindset have to start thinking about how can we do work faster? How can we be more efficient? I mean, before to write a proposal, you're spending hours and days and you're looking for somebody to help you who have experience. You're like, man, help me write this proposal.
And then ChatGPT came.
Gemini is there. Bard is there. You don't have to be the expert because machine learning algorithms are picking up to be able to help you write those code much better.
So these things are not a threat?
They're not a threat because there's some things, some decision making where you have to still put in emotions in it to be able to make a smart decisions. Not everything can be done by code. I know there's some law firms right now where there's a judge which is AI to judge because there's a judge which is an AI. The other day I saw it happening where an AI tool is now making judgment.
Wow.
Yeah, but you see, sometimes you need to logically put it somewhere where somebody has committed a traffic offense because they're rushing to take their daughter to the hospital.
There has to be an emotional element to it.
The daughter to the hospital. To me, I'm like, get the help for the daughter first. Nobody was harmed in the way. Nobody was put in danger. It was just that you crossed the traffic light just to get to the hospital early. You see, legally, that's an offense. But emotionally, you forgive that person and say, pay the small fine or something like that, but your daughter is fine.
Wow. That's a really interesting perspective. All right. So the next question that we had hinted before, they say they have, we have ethical hackers.
Yes.
And non-ethical hackers.
Yep,
all
true.
right. And this is why I was asking whether in campus you ever got tempted to change grades.
Yeah.
So where would you put yourself? And is it possible to play both? You are unethical if it's convenient, and then you're ethical.
For example, so we have black hat hackers who just want to do
hat.
bad things. There are white hat hackers who are always trying to protect and be the good guys.
Yeah.
There are gray hat hackers who are in between.
Okay.
Now, I'm a gray.
Okay.
In the sense of, if you piss off my family,
Yeah.
I will not
You'll pay for
forgive
it,
you.
yeah.
If you steal something from me,
Yeah.
I will come for you one way or the other.
Yeah.
If you try to really, really mess with me and,
Yeah.
and I think it's justified for me to come for you, I will.
Yeah.
That's where I put myself.
Yeah.
So there are days that I have to make a decision of where do I have to go
Yeah,
to.
yeah.
Of course, mostly on the white side of things,
Yeah.
but I also learned offensive security, which is the black hat aspect of hacking,
Yeah.
to be able to know how to do protection.
Yeah.
You need to learn both.
Yeah.
So I'm a gray hat hacker.
Because I think earlier, just before we started shooting, you're telling us that for you to actually offer services to some of these companies, you have to hack them first, so that you show them whether their security is really vulnerable or,
So it depends. So some customers who you look at them, you're like, for example, anybody with a mobile application, I know is hackable. Anybody with a mobile application has a wallet, there's a very high chance I'll be
So
able
we are
to
talking about bank apps.
bank apps, fintechs.
Okay.
Anyone who has a username and password login, there's a an OTP part of the program.
Yeah.
I know there's a vulnerability somewhere. So I always approach them, even without doing any kind of hacking.
Yeah.
We do a little bit of basic reconnaissance and say, hey, I think your application will be vulnerable. Can we do that? Some of them, I actually go ahead to try to see if I can compromise them. Then I tell them, hey, your system is vulnerable. I found a bug when I was trying to log in, and I went ahead to try to exploit it. Are you willing to listen? If you are, let's sign an NDA, let's sign a letter of engagement, and let's see how it goes. If you don't agree, I walk away. And a lot of people have walked away.
Okay.
I've walked away from. Others, they want to engage you. You discuss the commercials. They put a budget to it, and they said, look, we'll need you in the next 6 months or 5 months from now, or right now. We'll pay you X amount of money, and we agree. Others, you just say, look, I am done. I want to walk away.
So it's just as simple as that.
It's as simple as that, yeah.
Okay. How strong is the two-step verification?
It is good to some point. But again, if you enter the two-step verification on the wrong portal, I'll be able to get it. Typical example. If I create a portal that looks like the Microsoft Office 365, and it's the wrong one, I can add a two-step verification code for you to log in.
So this is cloning?
Cloning.
Okay.
So you will actually get a two-step verification code sent to you.
To my phone?
Yes.
From the cloning site?
After you've put the right password.
What?
And so if you don't put the right password, it will not go through.
Yeah.
And after you get the code and you enter it,
Yeah.
it will actually log you in into your email, but I'll get the details.
Are we safe, Bright, really? Because you're explaining it like it's a walk in the park. Like it's so easy to do.
Yeah.
Because for me, I have a two-step verification, I have an authenticator, and I feel like I'm untouchable now.
The authenticator actually helps
Okay.
much better than the two-step verification alone. So I tell people have the two-step verification, but via SMS, you're doing a lot of damage.
Okay.
The authenticator,
The app.
is much better.
Okay.
The authenticator gets to prompt you to get to see. I mean, it's a level of extra security. So I go with authenticator much better than just a normal two-step verification.
Yeah.
Most apps, when the way they're coded that when they're sending the two-step verification, it sends via your phone. Okay, your phone sends the request straight to SMS and it comes to you.
Okay.
Other people, or how ideally it's supposed to be done, is saying that I am the client, you are whichever service, let's call it drama service, okay? I'm supposed to send a request to you saying, I need a two-step verification code.
Yeah.
You now tell your backend server saying, send a code to him. Okay, that's how it's supposed to be done.
Yeah.
And most of the time, it sends via my internet connection. What that means is that if I'm a third person here, when I want to log in, I can put your phone number, and I'll also see the two-step verification code before it comes to you. It's called traffic interception. So we can see the two-step verification for any phone number before the person even gets it.
Yeah.
So if you randomly just sit down and you get a two-step verification
Yeah,
code,
yeah.
meaning somebody has attempted
Yeah.
to log into your application.
Because I've gotten that before.
Yep. That means somebody has gotten access to it.
Yeah.
They might not have your password,
Yeah.
but they've tried to put your phone number and see if they can get a two-step verification and log in as you.
Do I need to do anything at that point?
At that point, change your password.
Okay.
Yeah. Change your password with a different browser.
Okay.
Not the normal browser that you use for everything. So if every day you're using Chrome for
Yeah.
your activities,
Yeah.
use maybe Firefox or Safari or Internet Explorer
Yeah.
to change the password for that particular application.
Okay, so you know how sometimes you enter your password on Google or whatever, and then it asks you whether you want to save your password for this site.
Yes.
Do you recommend?
Yes, yeah, well, it depends. So now,
Okay.
before Google used to have a very bad password saving mechanism.
Okay.
Now it's better.
Okay.
So we call the password managers.
Okay.
You are a human being, you cannot possibly remember
Yeah,
every single password.
thing.
So actually, I recommend people to use password managers.
Okay.
I use Microsoft Authenticator
Okay.
as a password manager.
Yeah.
The Google one as well, I'll use it as a backup.
Okay.
There's one called LastPass.
Yeah.
I don't recommend it anymore
Okay.
because they have been hacked too many
So many
times,
times.
and also their recovery process is not good. Their customer service is not good, so I would not recommend it.
Yeah.
There's Bitwarden, there's 1Password. Those are also really good password managers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you hacked a bank before?
Yes. Enough times, both logically and physically.
Were you caught?
No.
Did you steal money?
No, I did it
Okay.
I did it as a paid job.
Okay.
So there's one bank I was told to hack, and they said, hacking physically if you can.
Yeah.
So
Oh, so they were aware of what you're doing?
only one person was aware.
Okay.
So what I did was I basically did what they call it. The first step is reconnaissance about the bank. Who is the front desk lady? What boardrooms do they have? Which branches? So I chose the branch in town. I knew the head of IT would be the person who would be the most easiest person. He knew I was coming.
Okay.
Him and the CEO knew that I was coming. I got the head of IT to go for a meeting with somebody
Yeah.
on Mombasa Road, somewhere close to South B, South C. And I also know he lives around there,
Yeah.
according to my research.
Yeah.
So I know it's a Friday afternoon, he's Muslim, he has to go to the mosque.
Yeah.
Right after that, he will not come back home because
Yeah.
of what? Traffic.
Yeah.
The front desk lady is the person who loves Mombasa, loves a lot of beach, loves a lot of traveling.
So
when
you
I-
have to understand these people's
Yes.
behaviors.
So when I went to her telling her, hey, I wanted to ask details about the loans and everything, and can I get a loan in Mombasa and everything? She's already triggered. Like, okay. I'm like, I like to go for a lot of holidays, and I want to buy a property in Mombasa, and I like inviting friends and everything. So she's like, okay, let me help this guy.
Yeah.
So quickly gave me access to the boardroom, so I knew which boardroom to go to. And I sent an email. I can, but then I can demonstrate this now. I can send
Yeah.
an email from you
Yeah.
to anybody, and it'll come as you.
What do you mean? You can send an email?
From, let's say, your corporate email
Yes.
to your Gmail, and it will come as you. It will look legit.
Okay.
Or maybe we can try that experiment.
Yeah.
I can send an email from you to me. Do we have your picture? From your
Oh,
Gmail.
you are the one sending
Yeah.
my email.
Yes, I don't need your password. It takes 10 seconds to do that.
Wow.
So
I'd really like to see that demonstration.
Why
I'd really
not?
like to see that demonstration.
We'll do that. So I faked an email from the IT manager to the front desk to give me access to the boardroom. And the boardroom that had the video conferencing facility had a network port. I planted a device there with a small charger, and I closed it and left it there. Gave us access to the entire network for the entire weekend. One mistake they did, they had somebody from the Big Four who was doing a security assessment, audit. But the audit the person was doing did not follow the right procedures, so he asked for the administrator password to the ERP and their core banking system. So our network sniffing picked that up, and we had access to the entire bank. We added a new employee who got paid on Tuesday.
What?
Yep.
That's crazy.
Got paid on Tuesday, and so we had to do a cleanup. We told them, hey, you paid a bank teller who never existed in the organization. Yep.
So final question.
Yeah.
Okay, not final, but we're winding up now
Yeah.
before we see that demonstration. So I've heard rumors that sometimes, especially if you have these bank apps,
Yes.
every once in a while they send you these messages that from this date to this date we are doing maintenance.
Yes.
And I've heard rumors that when they do that, they've been hacked or there has been attempts
Yeah.
on them to be hacked. Is it true?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Banks need to maintain some level of upgrades and everything, so they always have to constantly add new features. Maybe they're only adding one. They're changing maybe something. So change management process the process says you have to notify your customers of any change you're making.
Yeah.
For example, one of the banks that I banked with the other day, I couldn't do my RTGS from the mobile application, but on the laptop it works. On the mobile application, they made an upgrade, which was bringing some error, right? What you call an exception error. So they had to tell them, and they had to upgrade. For that upgrade, imagine they told everybody, we are upgrading our app at this time.
So no matter how small.
No matter how small the upgrade or update is, they have to let you know, because you should need to know that if you're, let's say, for example, you're going to the club and the club is on a Saturday, they're doing that change on a Saturday night, you should be sure to have cash with you or M-Pesa. So they'll tell you we're doing an update between bank to M-Pesa, so don't do any transaction between that time. So it's always
just accountability.
It's accountability, and it's a process. If you don't do that, I have the right to sue them for not letting me know, and at that point I'm stuck. So that's a process. It has to be done by every organization. So change management is not a thing you just wake up and do. You have to do it in a systematic way.
So final question. So Dr. Bright is a family man. He's a husband and a father. All right. What has cybersecurity taught you about marriage?
Wow. Hey, that's a hard one. Well, what it has taught me is to be able to know how to handle, how to be patient. Because in a cybersecurity world, there's sometimes you're doing an assessment and you're finding almost nothing to report. Yet they're charging this client like $500,000 or $1 million bob.
And they expect you to have something.
And you want to see, how am I going to report a zero? You know, we have something called a zero finding report. How are you going to do that? And it becomes quite difficult to do that. So patience with my kids as well, and also how I systematically talk to them, how to teach them how to do things. I relate that a lot in my cybersecurity life, and also just the way I learn new things in cybersecurity. Slowly, I took time to now learn how my daughter relates to me, my daughters, but especially my firstborn. Sometimes she asks a question and I'm not too fast to answer. I have to take my time and understand how am I going to really answer this question. And I relate that with a lot of cybersecurity as well when I'm teaching. So I teach a lot of people cybersecurity, and I try to be very patient with them and not just dismiss. But I relate that to family life as well a lot.
Wonderful. I love that. I love that. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was Dr. Bright Gameli. I hope you guys had a fantastic time. I've learned a lot. You know, I've considered my life choices, you know, and some interests that I might want to pick up. We'll see how that goes. But thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for tuning in. Like, comment, share, subscribe. The 4 magic things that you need to do. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Now, Bright, in this podcast, we believe in giving men their flowers. When they are still alive.
Nice.
You know, because sometimes we celebrate men as legends after they've passed, and you know, we start talking about the things that they did. But we believe in doing it when they are there to receive and appreciate it. So we brought you a flower.
Wow.
A bouquet. Now, just to be clear, I am not conversant with the meaning of flowers. So this was specifically selected by my wife, Soila. These are eucalyptus and baby breath. And it's basically just a symbol of us saying that we see you, we recognize what you're doing, we are grateful, and this is a breath. This is to say that you're a breath of fresh air.
Thank you so much. You know, we rarely get celebrated in this industry as much as we try to do things. And some people don't really recognize what we do, and I really appreciate this. This means a lot to me. And thank you very much for this little gesture. You have no idea how far this goes.
I'm glad. I'm glad it has resonated. You know, when we were starting this podcast, there was always that thing of, will men really appreciate flowers? You know?
We do.
But I'm glad that you see the meaning behind it. So here we go.
Thank you so much. Thank you really much. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us, or rather, thank you. You know, who had who? Okay, we had each other because we came to shoot at his location.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you have a parting shot for them before.
My parting shot is that life is very fickle.
Yeah.
There's so many changes that come within the shortest possible time.
Yeah.
And you don't have to wait to take the next step.
Yeah, yeah.
I think sometimes we doubt ourselves so much,
Yeah.
but every day is a new learning spot.
Yeah.
You're never behind
Yeah.
a schedule
Yeah.
or behind anyone.
Yeah.
I think sometimes people see others online. Some people see me online, they're like,
Yeah.
you know, you're making it in life and
Yeah.
everything. I'm
Yeah.
like, well, I have my challenges too.
Yeah.
Not every day is as rosy
Yeah.
and beautiful as it is,
Yeah.
or flowery as
Yeah.
it is. So take a chance on yourself.
Yeah.
Talk to people,
Yeah.
get a mentor,
Yeah.
get to actually see try anything. If you don't try, you'll never know. If you don't ask, you'll never know.
Yeah.
Show up and show out. That's always the tagline I tell people. Show up
and show
and
out.
show out.
Yeah.
That's the only way we get to grow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Lovely.
So your email is james.wamalwa@gmail.com. That's it? Spelled right?
Yes.
Okay. So for example, now I want to find out almost everything about you online in terms of possibly even places you've traveled to that you don't even know you have been. Right, this is just it's called OCT Industries. Just want to find out details. However,
This is a free site.
no.
Okay.
You have to pay for it.
Okay.
Well, you can pay. There's a free version of it, but you can pay for it.
Okay.
However, I wrote a small script to see if I can send an email from you to me.
To you.
So
And I'm not aware what's going
you're
on.
not aware. I don't have your password.
Okay.
I want to send an email to myself, brightzed@gmail.com. What do you want the subject to be?
December hack.
December hack. Message: kindly come to the boardroom for the free lunch. Okay?
Okay.
All right. So in the next 10 seconds, this email is being sent from you to me.
And I
you-
have no idea.
You have no idea.
Me, I'm in bed. I'm
You're in
sleeping.
bed somewhere.
Okay.
So let's see if anything has been found about you for now. Well, there are some information telling me
Hey, my heart is pounding.
Chocolate World. I don't know which. Were you there before?
Hershey's Chocolate World.
Yeah, in 2022. Oh no, 2017. This is all information about you, so I know your YouTube name, I know your full name. It's your full name actually, your LinkedIn profile, your Skype details, your Facebook. Now I know your Gmail account. I mean, your Gmail account, which is what we got at first. But now if I want to really, really compromise you, I'll go to see how, this is the email that you use for your Facebook. You have been compromised before in 2021. A date that it was added was 2023. So whatever email you've used for this BVD info, go change that password. But that's how easy it is to actually find some little information about you. But yeah, let's see my email. I have a new email that has come. As you can see, you can, if you open it, the email said is from you. Do you have your phone
This
with
is
you?
my email.
Do you
This
have
is
your
my
phone-
email
Do
address.
you have your phone with you?
Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm going to reply to you. Thanks.
And the reply will come.
For the interview. Well, yeah, let's see. Thanks for the interview on, what's today's date?
Today's 22nd.
On 22nd December. In fact, if you click on this, if you had a picture, look,
Yeah, that's my picture.
it shows it's you.
Yeah. That is my picture.
And if I send it, in the next 10 seconds, you should be getting an email coming to you right now as a reply.
Yeah. Let's give it a minute.
So imagine if this was a company and you have an email saying,
So you can actually forge an email from the accounts and say, I approve this transaction.
or I have changed my bank account details,
Wow.
accounts payables. Refresh. There we go.
Guys,
And you can open it. Can I open it now? This is the only time you ever get to know that the email was even sent on your behalf. And guess what?
Teach me your ways. Sensei, teach me your ways. What?
And this is just basics.
But I didn't see any code.
Yeah, it's a small script that I wrote which does that. So last seen on Google was this date.
So Bright, me what I would just say, let's continue being friends. I would hate to be your enemy. Damn, man.
I even know when you created a YouTube account in 2012, in January. Like, this can bring a lot of info about you. Yeah.
So, are my details safe?
They are safe. That's why we need basic information gathering of how to. You just need to do basic security for yourself, two-step verification, getting to, be very vigilant. For example, if we go to, what's it called again? Spokio, right? Spokio will do a very similar thing. I can say email, and this is a free service. I've not even, let me copy your email again. I've not paid for this. It might possibly tell me how old you are. And I've not even paid for this one yet. This is just, I've not logged in or anything.
So this is basically based on any information that I've put online?
Yes.
Online, anywhere online?
It's called open source intelligence. Yeah. So anyway, at least yours has not shown the details, but if we're to pay for it,
it will give much more.
Much more details and everything. I don't know what picture that is. Where did you fetch that picture from? But yeah.
So are there people who know what you know, but are using it
maliciously
as black hats in this country?
Yes.
Okay, so that's Dr. Bright. I'm going to, my heart is pounding. I think it will be pounding for the rest of the day. But Bright is my friend, so I'm not worried. But yeah, so thank you for that.
Thanks so
this
much.
Is very interesting.
And it's been great to catch up again.
So if I want to know what you know, without having to go to South Korea, how long would it take?
Well, it's a forever learning journey. So you don't have a timeline really. People are doing a lot of things out here. There are too many free tutorials out there people want to actually use. And hey, it's just about how curious you are to be able to learn. Yeah.
Wow. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Yeah, that was interesting.